Hello and happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome back to our Restore Your Core 4 series with Baptist Health for Her. I'm Jean. I've been here with you all for these past, I think it's 8 weeks now, and really excited that you're here with us again this week. So I want to welcome back Jenna Braddock. She is a registered dietitian and was with me last week. We had an amazing conversation about the diet mindset and just some really awesome stuff. So if you didn't catch that last week, feel free to go back and watch it in the videos. But for tonight, we're going to be talking about living more plant forward, which I feel like, Jenna, you kind of coined that term, didn't you?
Oh, no, I don't think I can take credit for it, but
Oh,
I
okay.
do love it. I do love that way of thinking. Yes.
Okay, cool. And we'll definitely get into that a little bit more. But I want to start off with telling you all about something really exciting that we have for tonight. So if you didn't tune in last week and kind of enter in your name for a special giveaway for Jenna's cookbook called Easy Cooking for Two, we're actually doing another giveaway tonight. So there's the sign up just above us, but I'll also be putting in the comments. So be sure to sign up. 3 lucky winners are going to be getting one of Jenna's cookbooks, which I'm super jealous and will likely just order it online for myself after this. So I'm super excited about that. And not only that, but tonight we're going to be cooking one of the recipes from her cookbook, which is going to be really, really fun. So awesome. So Jenna, what are we going to be getting into tonight?
Yeah, so we're going to be making one of the recipes from the vegetarian section of my cookbook. So there's a lighter fare, vegetarian, poultry, and then beef and pork section as well. So I picked one that was ridiculously easy to make, first of all, because this is just literally a dinner you can throw together, or it could be a lunch if you're working from home, and you want something really nutritious and filling. And it also really sings the song of living plant forward, along with being really delicious as well, which is always important to me.
Yeah, that's great. I'm excited to get into it too. So before I think we get into the recipe, I wanted to chat a little bit with you about what does it mean to live plant forward, and why is this approach a little bit different than maybe what we've been hearing about going plant-based?
Right. Really, it doesn't necessarily mean anything different, but the term plant-based, as with many good intention things, kind of pulling from what we talked about last week with the diet culture, can be taken way out of context. It can be way overblown. And I find that a lot of people are wondering, well, do I need to be vegan in order to be healthy? And while being vegan is a wonderful way to eat, you certainly don't have to take plant-based eating quite that far to still get the benefits, especially if you do enjoy having some animal protein or products still in your diet. So the idea of plant forward is more, let's make plants more involved in our meals, a greater focus of the meal with a natural decline or smaller portions to some of the animal-based products that are there. And that was really something I was thinking about in all of the recipes that I wrote for this cookbook, is how can we make plants really the crux of the meal, adding in delicious proteins as well. So it's just that freedom for people to enjoy eating a healthy diet in many different ways, but still coming back to a point that we all agree on, which is we should be eating more plants to have healthier bodies, longer longevity, and less chronic disease.
Yeah, absolutely. And too, Jenna, if you could talk just a little bit about this. I know what we think about with plants, right, is
Mhm.
mostly just our fruits and vegetables, which is, super important for our diets. But what are some other things that maybe we forget about that are plant-based or, are plants? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So it isn't just fruits and vegetables, although that's certainly an important piece of it and an area that most of us aren't eating enough of. But it really incorporates a lot of other things. It incorporates beans, legumes,
Mhm.
pulses, And then it also incorporates nuts and seeds, and then whole grains as well. So a lot of times whole grains get really demonized as a poor choice for your health, but those are plant-based options as well. And you might be surprised when you begin to think about your plate with how many plants are present here, not through that dieting lens of, oh, white potatoes don't count, iceberg lettuce doesn't count, or whatever kind of garbage we're fed to believe about those things. When we just see like how many plants are actually here, we might be surprised that we're already eating more plant forward than we realized. There's also really cool products out there that make plant-based eating or plant forward eating more easily, like frozen vegetables in cool shapes, like the spirals that can easily be incorporated into meals you're already making. We have awesome pasta options now that are bringing in vegetables or are made of beans, like chickpea pasta, which, hello, plant-based eating there. And even our whole grain breads, you know, again, bread gets kind of demonized. And if you want to eat it, great. If you don't want to eat it, that's great too. But like, that's a plant-based food as well. So opening up our mind to not what the diet culture tells us is good or bad, but rather, where are the plants here on my plate? And having that perspective might actually make things a lot easier and enjoyable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's kind of where my mind, I sometimes forget too, like beans are amazing and rice is still so great and other whole grains. So awesome. Thank you for clarifying that for us.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get cooking. I have some of my ingredients here, and I figure if you don't mind too, talking a little bit about your approach with your cookbook. I would love to hear a little bit more about
Yeah.
that as we go through our recipe too.
Yeah, well, I don't think I mentioned the recipe earlier, so forgive me, but we're going to be making black bean stuffed bell peppers with plantains. If you happen to have a cookbook, thank you for purchasing it, and it's page 39 if you need it. And so all of the recipes in this cookbook are 30 minutes or less. You know, some might be just a touch more, but for the majority of them can be made in under 30 minutes. Each of these recipes is a serving for two people. And the reason why we wanted to do this is because there's not a lot of resources out there for individuals who only want a smaller amount of food. So maybe it's a couple, maybe it's roommates, maybe it's a single individual who doesn't want to eat leftovers over and over again. Or even, Jean, you know, in your situation, or me when my kids were younger, maybe you got a little baby who's not eating, you know, your dinner yet. You still need just a smaller amount of food. So that's kind of the premise. And with this particular recipe, we had the goal of making a certain number of recipes 5 ingredients or less. And so it really kind of pushed me to think about, okay, how can we add flavor with as few ingredients as possible? What techniques or flavorings or things like that can we use? How can we still have balanced meals in this kind of thing? And then also feel like it's a satisfying meal. So that's really what went into this. And this is a 5 ingredient meal. So I'll show you what our 5 ingredients are. First of all, it's bell peppers. You can pick your color. I like red because it's pretty. The second ingredient is 1 can of black beans. The third ingredient is salsa verde. The fourth ingredient is plantains, which we'll spend a little time talking about this. And our fifth ingredient is just some avocado or coconut oil to use on that. And that's it. That's all it is. And so it's super simple, but just presenting it in a really fun way that, again, makes it feel like a meal. And then adding a food that maybe you're not as familiar with, like plantains, which is a favorite food of mine, which adds great carbohydrate, plant-based carbohydrate, good fiber in here, as well as other nutrients, and happens to be extremely delicious as well. So win, win, win all the way around.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start by doing our plantains. Okay, so in the store, if you've never bought plantains before, you'll see these very large green bananas, okay? And they're bigger than regular bananas and they tend to be green. And so this is often the way you'll find them in the store. And this, if we were to cook this at this point, they would not be sweet. They would be more for a savory application, which there's some delicious ways to do that. So what I like to do is buy these a week or two in advance when I know I'm going to do it and let them brown. Like, so unlike regular bananas, we actually do want these to get nice and yellow. and brown here. And depending on the banana or the plantain, it might take a week, it might take 2 weeks. This is a really good looking one. So this is going to be awesome when it's nice and ripe. So we do want it to be a little bit softer because that's what gives us the sweetness in it. If you don't plan that far ahead and you're just like, I don't think I can think about that, there is a shortcut, and you can actually buy these frozen. So Maduros are the sweet plantain. They're already cut up, and you can just throw these on the pan. So this makes your meal even quicker. You just throw it on like this. But if you can plan a little bit ahead, the nice thing about buying them fresh is that they're super affordable. So sometimes you can get 2 of these for $1. So you have this really great plant forward side that's your starch that was really cheap. So that's the nice benefit of this. So this was not ready yet, but I wanted to show you yet. So we're going to work on this one. Now they don't peel as easily as a banana. So what I like to do is first cut off the top. And this one's actually not going to end up being a great one for us. Something went a little awry, but it'll be great for the demonstration. So we're going to cut off the 2 ends. And then I take my knife and I make a slit from top to bottom. Okay. And depending on how ripe, if it's really ripe, the plant, it should come off fairly easy. This one, again, is something went wrong with this ripening process, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. But the other thing you can just do is cut it off. Okay. Yeah, something's not right because this is not even yellow on the side. Now, a normal plantain, when it is ripe, it will be this beautiful buttery yellow on the inside. But again, for demonstration purposes, we're going to go ahead and cut this guy up. So we just want all that peel off here. And again, if this was a normal, well-meaning plantain, this would be a lot easier. But with a nice sharp knife, even if you can't quite peel it off, it'll still come off really easily.
So Jenna, just out of curiosity, for plantains, for those maybe who've never cooked with it before, what part of the grocery store would you find these in? I mean, produce, of course, but aren't they in a special spot usually?
That's a great question, Jean. So, I mean, for those of us in Northeast Florida here, if you have a Publix, they are in the produce section, typically with the other tropical fruits. So like the mangoes, papayas, the aloe leaves. The other nice place I really like to get these is at Aldi's. Aldi actually has them for really affordable, and they'll just be kind of in their stacks of the produce, not in the cold section, but in the regular storage. So again, guys, I apologize that I don't have a real good looking plantain today, so forgive me, but I do want to show you. So we get the peel off, and then the best way to do a plantain is cutting it on a bias. Now, if we were to fry them, which is the typical way you'd enjoy them sweet, you want as much surface area as possible. So same thing for us baking them, which is going to be a little lighter way to enjoy them. We want lots of surface area. So we're going to just cut on a bias. So that means like at an angle here. And we want to get like these nice flat angled pieces. So if we were just cut straight down, we just have little circles. This gives us a little bit nicer, bigger piece here. And so you'll just want to do this all the way through. Now, one of these big banana or plantains, if there's 2 of you, would be plenty for the 2 of you. The other nice thing about this book, even if 2 servings is you need more than that, almost all of these recipes are so easy to double. So you'd simply get 2 plantains, or I love plantains, so I make like 4 because I want them the rest of the week. This is a food I like to eat over and over again. Okay, so we're going to continue to slice this all the way on the bias. And again, it should be fairly easy if your banana or your plantain is nice and ripe. Okay, so this is the tiny one and it's not ripe, so it looks weird, but the cutting is normal. And then all we would do is take a little bit of our avocado oil, vegetable oil, or coconut oil. And I like coconut oil for this because it's tropical and it just kind of fits with the flavors. And we're just going to toss this in a little bit of oil here to coat them. And that's going to help us get a little browning on the plantains, which also just makes it super nice and sweet. Ooh, so again, because this guy leaves much to be desired here, I'm going to add a few of our frozen ones here as well. So just pretend that these came from a regular plantain. We'll put them out here. And just for the record, personally, I like the ones in the bag as opposed to the tray. I just think they have better texture, personal opinion. And this you can find and Publix in the frozen section. It's funny, I looked at this week at my Publix, it says kosher on top, but it actually has a lot of Latin food products there. So it's where you'll also find the empanada discs, which there's an empanada recipe in my cookbook as well. So pick those up. But yeah, so that's it. We're cooking everything together in the same temperature, which our temperature for our oven is going to be 375. So everything's going on one sheet pan for the exact same time for the exact same temperature. So that's the other nice thing.
Can't get any easier than that, really.
Yes. Again, I don't want lots of plates and pans. No, thank you. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is just rinse the black beans. So we're just using one simple can. I do like the low sodium kind, so I would look for that. We're going to add our own seasoning to this, so we don't need the extra sodium. So I'm just going to do this right over here in my sink. I'm going to dump it and I'm going to rinse it. Awesome. So if you are being real conscientious of the amount of sodium in your diet, one of the nice things to know is that when you drain and rinse any canned good, you are eliminating, I think it's like an additional 40% of the sodium listed on the nutrition facts label. So it's a really nice way to take a little bit more control of that sodium. So it really makes a big difference there. So I'm just going to let that drain. And in the meantime, we're going to prep our bell peppers. So again, you can pick whichever color you like, and you can multicolor. It's all pretty. And so we're going to use these as cups. Oh, perfect. For some reason, I don't know why, I'm sure there's a good reason, green peppers tend to be cheaper than the other colors. So if you're also trying to make this a real budget-friendly meal, which it definitely is, go with the green, and you're not missing out on anything. It's all fine.
And okay, so then, sorry, question. Are peppers in season now? Because I know, you know, Florida has, I mean, some wonderful seasons for vegetables. Are they in season, or you can get them?
I believe they are in season for us here in Florida. And I highly encourage you, when you do see that fresh from Florida signage at your grocery store, buy Florida produce, because we need to be supporting our local farmers. So that's a great point. Thank you, Jean. And wherever you are in the country, support who's ever local or regional to you, or domestic to you in your area. That's fine too. Okay, so we're going to turn these into little cups. So what we're going to do, make sure we have a nice sharp knife. I've already rinsed and dried this. And we're going to slice these from the top to the bottom. Okay, so we're going to be going this way because we want two nice halves that are going to be our cups. So I'm just going to go right down the middle. So we have two halves like this. Okay, now we don't want these seeds in here because we need the space and they don't add much to what we're doing here. So I have my little garbage bowl here. I'm just going to pop these out. You can also take a little knife and just do a little slit right around this to get this out. Okay, so get out all those seeds. There's some like white ribs in here. Just try to pull that out, because again, we want lots of room in there to stuff them and get us a nice little cup. So we want this to land on the board here without rolling over. So one little trick, if it just won't stay upright, this is kind of a funny shape, or if it doesn't work right, just, excuse me, make a very small sliver right here on the back just to give it a flat surface, and that should keep it from rolling over, because we don't want our beans to fall out.
And Jenna, I have a question that's a curiosity question that I saw this, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. So I heard that depending on how many, I guess, little bumps on the bottom of the pepper will determine how many seeds it has. Is that true? Do you know?
I don't know. I've actually never heard that before, Jean. We need a fact checker. Somebody's watching.
We should. Hey, whoever's watching out there, if you're able to do a little research, I heard it's 3 bumps is no seeds and 4 is lots of seeds, but I could be totally making that up.
I know, I've never heard that. That's really interesting. One quick thing. So if you have the stem on your half, you can leave that on there. You don't necessarily have to remove it. Mine came off with the the seeds here, but it's kind of pretty. It's decorative only. You don't necessarily want to eat that stem, and it can cook in the oven and be just fine. All right, so I'm starting on my second bell pepper here. So we're gonna have 2 bell peppers. So our 2 halves for each person. So again, if you wanted to do this for more than just 2, you just add more bell peppers and a extra can of vegetables. All right, so we have our 4 peppers here. I'm gonna lay these on the same sheet pan that our plantains are on, and now we're going to dress up our beans. And I love this part because it could not be easier to make these beans just taste like we did a little bit of effort and not just be plain here. So I'm gonna add my drained and rinsed beans just to a bowl.
Awesome.
And then we're going to use salsa verde as our flavoring for this. So we had a little discussion offline before we started here about salsa verde. It is just a green salsa, and it has a little bit more of a unique flavor than traditional salsa, which for this recipe, I think just makes it taste more unique. You can absolutely use any salsa that you like, any flavor, any type. If you have your own special concoction, go for it. I just like the salsa verde because I think it's unique in flavor. And it's typically not spicy, yet still kind of has a kick to it, if that makes sense. And then there's several other recipes in my cookbook that also use salsa verde. So we're going to do a 1/2 cup of this in with our beans. And this is it. That's all. That's the only seasoning we're doing. It's going to do all the work for us for making this taste really delicious. Now, if you're like, I love salsa, can I have more? The answer is most definitely yes. Go for it.
That was going to be my question.
Yes, please. And if you're like, I love heat, add a little hot sauce, add a little jalapeno. This is really a good standard, like safe base, like you know it's going to work, but absolutely add more to this if you'd like it.
Yeah. Ooh, pickled jalapenos would probably be really good with this.
That would be delicious. That's a great idea, Jean. Report back when you try that.
I will.
Okay, so that's it. So now what we're going to do is just spoon this mixture into our peppers. So we're going to have our own little bowl here for our peppers. And this is it. So this guy is going to be full of plant-based protein, high in fiber, high in nutrients, and full of flavor, thanks to our salsa verde.
Yes. And I love, Jenna, how the peppers are cut, because I feel like when I make stuffed peppers and I do the whole one, it just takes forever to cook. And
it does.
But they'll cook so much quicker.
Yeah, we're not here for hour-long stuffed peppers. We're hungry and we need dinner.
Yeah.
So cutting them this way makes a big difference. So we're only going to cook these for about 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes, depending on how long it takes. So a couple of things here. So for those of you that would like a little bit more substance to this meal, if that's just your thing, you're super hungry and you need it, here's a few suggestions. You can absolutely add some animal protein to this, whether it's a ground meat or a chopped meat. You can also add rice. So if you wanted to add some rice into this actual mixture and put it in, so it's like a bean and rice stuffed, or you can make some rice on the side and then serve it over and kind of open up, cut open the pepper and let the beans kind of flow over your rice. So that could be a great option there. Or you could just have, a handful of chips on the side too, if you really need it. But before you commit to that, give the plantains a chance. You may find them more filling and satisfying than you realize. Oh, and you can also sprinkle some cheese on top. If you love cheese, I love cheese. Cheese tastes delicious on pretty much everything. You could just simply sprinkle some cheese on this in the last few minutes of baking, and that could be a great addition as well. So this is it, Jean. This is our sheet pan dinner, and this is going in our oven. We're going to do 15 minutes and then come and flip these plantains over to the other side just so they brown evenly. We get that nice flavor on all sides, and then 10 more minutes and then dinner's done. So you can go take your shower, you can help kids with homework while this is all going on. And that is one of the things that I just love about this recipe. So I'll set that for 15. Now, through the power of television, Jean, or whatever this is we're doing, the internet,
Yes.
I have already completed our meal. And we are ready to go here. So I'm going to try to show this to you without, losing it on my counter here. But we have our 2 cooked peppers here. They're nice and tender and soft. Look how pretty this one looks with the stem. It's cooked. We have a little bit of char on top, so we're getting a little nice crunch on there. And then you'll see these beautiful plantains, which are just brown and delicious. They're so good.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait to have mine. I'm going to be popping it in the oven right after we get off here.
Delicious. And so, I think a couple of things. If you are, excuse me while I chew. If you are really wanting to have more plants and be more plant forward in your eating, a couple of things to remember. Plant forward eating doesn't need to be boring or not tasty. And there are so many resources that you probably already have to begin incorporating more into your eating. For instance, your favorite cookbooks or even your favorite recipes now. With a few tweaks, you can add more plants in very easily. And then the other thing I want to encourage people is that this really is a journey, especially for those who do want to go on a journey to becoming full vegan, which is awesome. Good for you for doing that. Just give yourself patience and time. That's a skill you have to learn, or eating more plants or cooking with more plants. It's a skill you have to learn, just like anything. We talked about learning to play the guitar last week. It takes a lot of practice. And that's the same for living plant forward and eating more plants on a regular basis. It's going to take practice. It's going to take messing up a lot. I can't even tell you how much I mess up with in my kitchen. You can ask my husband sometimes. There are sometimes I'm working, I try some tweak in a recipe and we all taste it and we're like, oh, and it's part of it. And when you find a winner, you keep it and you keep making it. So don't be afraid to mess up. It's okay if, in trying to eat more plants, you also eat animal products. There's so many options on that spectrum for how you demonstrate living plant forward. And it's completely unique to you. You have full freedom to self-define that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, Jenna. Love that. It's just a more approachable way to, incorporating more vegetables, plants into your diet. And I just love it. And we actually have a couple of comments. So Suzanne popped in a little bit late, and she wanted to see our dish a little bit closer. She asked what was next to the peppers. If you could describe that a little bit more for her.
Okay. Trying to help you out here. I'm going to give you a 360 here. So these are plantains. They're sweet plantains. Okay, so they're on the bottom there. And so sweet plantains are a plant forward starch that you can have. They're super easy. You find them in the store like this. They're usually green. So you want to buy them a week or two in advance because you want these to get yellow and brown. They're not a banana. They're much starchier, which has good fiber in it for us. So we want this to be yellow and brown by the time we cut it. And you toss in a little oil and you get this really delicious, naturally sweet side dish. I love sweet and savory together. You'll probably see that as a theme in one of my books, in some of the recipes. So I also talked about there is a nice little cheat though. If you're just short on time, your plantains aren't ripening, or you just couldn't find them at your store, you can find a brand like this Chiquita brand, which is Maduros. Maduros are a sweet plantain. There's also like a savory plantain that you make when they're this color. And these are individual. You throw them on your sheet pan, cook them the exact same with the peppers, and that's a really easy workaround.
Wow, wonderful. Yeah, thank you. Plantains are going to be one of my new favorites for sure in the recipes.
They're so easy too, and so affordable. That was the other thing we brought up. They're so affordable. Yeah. You can get like 2 of these for $1 and feed a family of 4, no problem.
That's awesome. Well, Jenna, I've had so much fun having this or putting this recipe together with you, and I cannot wait to eat it. But before we leave for tonight, I just want to remind everyone that we are doing a cookbook giveaway for Jenna's Easy Cooking for Two. And so three of our lucky winners, or three of our lucky participants will be winning the cookbook. So be sure to visit the link that I put in the comments there, but then also is above us. So don't hesitate, definitely do it. And also too, I also put in Jenna's website as well. I personally love it. I know, Jenna, we talked about this offline a little bit, but there's so many wonderful resources, recipes that she offers on her website. So I encourage you to take a look at that as well. And really for next week, we're actually going to be moving on to our fourth core area of mind. So we're going to be talking about the mind-body connection with Dr. Mona Shaw, which I'm really excited about. So make sure to like the Baptist for Her page and tune in with us for the rest of our series. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and Jenna, for you for making a delicious recipe with us tonight.
It is my pleasure. And I hope this recipe just makes eating plant forward both easy and delicious for all of you. So make sure you're following me too on Instagram, make.healthy.easy. And if you happen to make this recipe or any of the others, make sure you tag me. I would love to see your creations.
Yes, we'll certainly do that. All right, everyone, have a good evening. And thank you again so much, Jenna.
Bye-bye.